All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is question number 8 off of supplement B1, and we're asked to find the domain of this rational function. Now, remember the way we've done the past several examples. To find the domain of a rational function, you look in the denominator, and you try to see what would make the denominator become 0. Now, I've got to be a little bit more clear here in my language. What we've been looking for is what real numbers would make the denominator equal to 0. Remember that when I ask you for the domain of a function, we're talking about real valued function. We're talking about real numbers going in and real numbers coming out. So I'm going to be real specific here. What real numbers can you think of that would make this denominator become 0? You're going to have a really hard time thinking that up. Okay, now, there are numbers that will make this denominator 0. But those numbers are not real. Those numbers are imaginary, complex numbers. Your vocabulary with how you've been taught to this level in the course, it's hard to know. They're things with eyes in them. Okay, but those are not real numbers. So let's turn our brains to real numbers. Okay? First of all, you're trying to look for restricted values. A restricted value is any real number that makes the denominator become 0. Well, let's think through this a little bit. First of all, something weird is happening here. X squared plus 9 does not factor. It's not x plus 3 times x plus 3. If that were the case, there would be a middle term. There would be a trinomial. It's not x plus 3, x minus 3, because this would be a minus. So x squared plus 9 is prime. It does not factor. Now that's weird because that has not happened in our previous example. So there's already something strange going on. But let me talk you through this. If I took any number you wanted to and I squared it, take any real number you can think of and square it. Okay? Just go ahead and do it. I mean, obviously you're not going to hear your answer, but if I do, I would be very scared. But take a number in your mind and square it. And now add 9 to it. Is your answer equal to 0? Well, of course not. Because no matter what real number you square, the answer is going to come out to be 0 or positive. If you put in a 0, 0 plus 9, 0 squared plus 9 is 9. If you put in a positive or a negative number, this became positive. When you added 9 to it, you got an answer bigger than 9. Is there any way this denominator is ever going to become 0? No. So you know what that means? What that means is any real number you plug in here is never going to cause this to become 0. Try it. Think of a real number. Square it and add 9. Did it become 0? No. So, can you do that with any real number you think of? Yes. I can take any real number and square it and add 9 to it, and I will not get a restricted value. I will not have a problem. I will not get 0. So you know what that means? That means that my domain is the set of all real numbers. Because there is no way using a real number that you can ever make this denominator become 0. So when you're looking down here and this does not factor, you may want to start getting suspicious. And then talk yourself through the problem just like I did. Pick a real number, square it, add 9. When is that going to become 0? Never. So what are the restricted values? There are none. If there are no real number restrictions, which is what I mean when I say a restricted value, if there are no real numbers that you're not allowed to use, then what are you allowed to use? Everything. Domain, all real numbers. And we're done.